All right, let's move on to health care, big issue, and you are in the thick of trying to make it better. What is it that you're trying to fix with the health care plan at the moment?
The number one issue is premiums. Premiums. When I'm back home in Texas, what I hear from Texans every single day is I can't afford health insurance. That Obamacare, the average family's premiums, they've risen over $5,000 under Obamacare. That's the central problem. Now, the current House bill, as drafted, I do not believe it will pass the Senate. It doesn't fix the problem. My biggest concern with the House bill is it doesn't lower premiums, and CBO, in fact, projected that in the first 2 years, premiums would rise 10 to 20%.
Although it did say then and they would go down.
It did, but I got to tell you, if Republicans hold a big press conference and pat ourselves on the back that we've repealed Obamacare, and everyone's premiums keep going up, people will be ready to tar and feather us in the streets, and quite rightly.
Do you think, Senator, the same about that coverage question? 24 million, the CBO said.
Look, the coverage question, it's actually interrelated to premiums. If premiums keep going up, one of the big problems with Obamacare, people can't afford health insurance. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I did a debate with Bernie Sanders, 2-hour town hall on Obamacare. The next day, I was having dinner here in Washington, and two waitresses I know well, they both came up to me and they said, one said, you know what? My premiums have tripled in the last 3 years. They went from $400 a month to $1,200 a month. She said, for the first time in my life, I don't have health insurance. She also said, for the first time in my life, this restaurant put me at under 30 hours a week. They put me at 29.99. I don't have insurance. The second waitress, who I also know well, said she was 4 months pregnant, and she had just gotten a notification from her insurance that the doctor that she likes and trusts can't deliver her baby because he's not covered.
So how do you fix it?
We've got to fix that. We can do that in the House bill. But the only way to drive down premiums is we need to repeal the insurance mandates. There are 12 insurance mandates that are in Obamacare. The House bill only touches 2 of them. We need to repeal those mandates to drive down cost. We need to allow purchases across state lines. We need to allow association health plans, and we need to allow people to pay premiums from health savings accounts. All of those will make it much more affordable for people to get health insurance.
The President and the House Speaker say that's going to happen. It's going to be a 2-step process. First, the American Health Care Act goes through, and then the second set of legislation comes on. You're chuckling.
That ain't going to happen. It's their so-called 3-bucket solution, which is all the good stuff is in bucket 3. Bucket 3 takes 8 Democrats. Right now, Senate Democrats are opposing everything. You can't get 8 Senate Democrats to agree on saying good morning. Anything in bucket 3, I've called bucket 3 the sucker's bucket. And what I have been urging the president and the administration and leaders in both houses, take everything in bucket 3, put it in bucket 1. We've got to actually fix this problem.
Their argument is that you can't do it all in this, what you're calling bucket 1 in the American Health Care Act that Paul Ryan and the president support, because the rules of the Senate just will not allow it. And so that's what you're up against here.
But that's fundamentally false. The rules of the Senate, we're on what's called budget reconciliation. It's governed by the Budget Act of 1974. It lays out a test for what's permissible on reconciliation. 6-part test. The central part of the test is it budgetary in nature? If it's budgetary in nature, you can do it. If it's not, you can't. You look at the insurance mandates. They impact billions of dollars of federal spending. And I'll point out the Obama Justice Department went before the U.S. Supreme Court twice and argued the mandates are integrally related. They're intertwined with the subsidies. You cannot sever them. Under the statute, we can do this now in bucket 1. And if we don't, this bill doesn't pass. And if it doesn't pass, it's a substantive and political disaster for everyone involved.
If it doesn't have these reforms about the mandates in it in the Senate bill, will you not vote for it?
I cannot vote for any bill that keeps premiums rising. Texans have look, there has been no issue I've devoted more time and energy to than Obamacare, stopping this disaster. We have a chance for an incredible substantive win for the American people. And I got to tell you, I am spending night and day meeting with House members, meeting with senators, meeting with the administration. Just yesterday, I spent 3 hours at Mar-a-Lago with Mike Lee and with Mark Meadows, negotiating with the president's team, trying to fix this bill.
Does the president get this?
We have had multiple conversations. The vice president and I have had multiple conversations. As he said on what you played a minute ago, President Trump said, this is one big fat negotiation. Here's the central prize. If we lower premiums, and hopefully lower them a lot, That's a victory for the American people. If premiums keep going up, that's a victory for insurance companies and lobbyists, but it's a loss for the people who elected us.
We've got very little time. I want to get to the Supreme Court, but does the